Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you today. Ryan Thomas was on the Corrie Cobbles for years and years and years. He is Mr. Delicious, and I'm delighted to say that he joins us on the phone now. How are you?
Thanks for talking to me.
I told you back then when we last spoke at Coronation Street, I don't like you because the ladies find you delicious and I'm deeply unattractive. It's no good for a man's ego.
I don't know where you got that from, but thank you very much.
I think you're a tremendous actor. I said to you years ago, I think to grow up on a soap and have that discipline of working those endless 10-hour days, 6 days a week, I suppose Panto's a doddle in a way, because to a lot of people it's hard work doing 2 shows, but it's nothing compared to a soap, is it?
I think they're very different. Equally very hard, equally very demanding, but in different ways. We don't have a live audience. We do it through the camera, so we don't get like an instant reaction from your performance. It's shown like 4 weeks later when working on Corrie, and this excitement is you just get the one chance at this, and it's great to be on the stage. And I just I've got so many good things to say about pantomime, and also being in this theatre is an extraordinary view from the stage of the theatre. It's just it takes your breath away. 15,000 people that place holds, and when it's full, you get the buzz, and it's enjoyable.
And again, it's one of the biggest in the country. Is it nice to be a personality and a name that people want to see? Because let's face it, Panto is a business. Unless you can put bums on seats, they don't book you. I guess you've kind of won the war, because leaving a soap is always risky. Are you going to survive?
Listen, they're risks you take when you finish on a show like Coronation Street, and you're in a bubble, and I've been in a bubble for like 16 years in Corrie, and I love the place, and it's home, and I miss people, but I think there's a time just to spread your wings, and I felt like that was the time for me, and I was ready, and you're going to take a risk. Everything you do in life is a risk, so it was just another chapter for me, and it was something that I don't look back on, and I really enjoyed my time out Corrie now, and I'm getting to do new things, and it's a massive responsibility having that show on your shoulders. So it's nice to be out of it.
And again, to be able to do something like this, where I guess you've got some freedom. I know there's a script, and I know that there's a cast that expect you to say the right words in the right order, but with Panto, you never know what's going to happen next. Is that thrilling that you can actually use your own brain to ad lib and play the audience?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to judge every single audience. Sometimes, when you've got the kids in, the adults' jokes goes over the head, and vice versa. There's it's a strange way of art of drama, and I absolutely love that laughter from your gags, and then when you find something that's funny and you play it, and it's something that you brought to it, and you get a laugh from that. I mean, it's that feeling will stay with you forever. It's great.
And I guess the Corrie sort of sense of humour, the discipline of the campery of that show works well with Panto. Because, I mean, the reason I love Corrie and not EastEnders is because it made me laugh. With Panto, it's absolutely about finding the laughs, even if you're the baddie, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, of course. But playing the baddie's been amazing. Like, Captain Hook is such fun. Like, people... You don't know what people are going to play from each performance. You don't know what you're going to get back. And, me and Mrs. Smee have got an ongoing gag that keeps getting bigger and bigger. And it keeps us, going throughout because it's like Groundhog Day a little bit as well. The show is so much, you feel like you've done that bit already, but then that's the first show, and then you've got to go back and do it again.
Yes.
You get really confused, but like you say, there's peaks and troughs with it, when you're working in anything.
When you walked out of the Corrie studio for the last time, did you see it as liberating and exciting for your future? Or was there that element of sort of like being dumped by your girlfriend where you feel empty for a while? It must have been a strange feeling.
It's always a strange feeling, leaving something after that long. But, the girlfriend didn't dump me. I I decided to do it off my own back. I think if it was their decision, it would have made it a little bit harder.
Right.
But you know, it was something I'd already made my mind up with. So it was, and it was nice to celebrate in you know, my time and my friends, and you know, I did a massive, you know, leaving party for everyone, and we saw it out as a happy, you know, time. And it was so nice. My last scene, everyone could come in on set and, you know, make an effort, and it blows your mind sometimes how much, you know, you appreciate these people you've worked with for so many years.
I interviewed William Roach whilst you were there, and he said one of the things that impressed him most was the young actors that came in like yourself that could do it. It really is a skill. I think people don't realise how hard you work and how little time there is for rehearsal, and if you don't deliver, you're going to be gone quickly. I mean, you survived 16 years. Incredible.
It is. But, you know, I remember being a kid growing up on the show, and, you know, I was 16, so for me it was a very much, I was trying to live a 16-year-old, you know, boy's life on the television, and you know, and I was getting in trouble for doing the same things every 16-year-old guy was doing at the time, going out and trying to get into the clubs or whatever it was, and but I was, you know, always in the paper for it, so it was a lot more challenging and to get away with as much, you know. But you sort of grow up and you realise that, you know, that then things got to change, because my contract was always like a 3-month contract. And
was it really?
Bruno played my brother. He was like, he was getting 6-month contracts, and I think it was because of, you know, I like to have a, you know, a good time at 16 years old, and I was in the paper for all the wrong reasons when I was a kid, but not anything real bad, just things that we would all do as 16-year-old lads. You know, everyone did it, and so it was only when I got that year contract at Corrie that I was like, yeah, I finally made it, and it took a while to get there. Maybe something to do with the maturity problem.
Yeah. Well, it's tough when you're growing up learning your lessons via the newspapers. Does it ever become normal when you see your face on a front page? It's got to be strange.
You know, it's part of life, and it's not the first time, so I think people get used to them sort of things, and you know, it's crazy. The media in England is something I've never witnessed anywhere. Do
you pinch yourself when you look in the mirror sometime and you see yourself in that costume? It is a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm getting used to it now. It's just so heavy and it's so hot.
Wow.
That underneath it, I'm like baking.
I can imagine. Congratulations on everything. I think you're a tremendous actor, and to grow up on a soap like Corrie and still have sanity and be successful and starring one of the biggest pantos in Britain is fabulous. Thank you so much for your time. Good to talk to you, Ryan.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
We're back here in Star Dressing Room number 1, talking to a lady who is, well, delicious. Sue Pollard, how are you?
I'm absolutely brilliant, darling. It's lovely to see you again for a start, and it's nice to be able to be talking to all your lovely listeners.
What is amazing about you is those people who come in for the first time and don't realise how good you are at singing. I always say this on the show, it's a real skill of yours, and I think people are always pleasantly surprised, and they come out going, God, she's great.
Oh, bless you. I think a lot of people are still surprised that you have got any kind of voice at all, simply because if you become known for, say, like appearances in sitcoms, where in actual fact it's probably mostly dialogue and you don't really have to do any singing at all, then I suppose it's understandable that people are still surprised when you can belt something out. But you see, the greatest thing was, I got my break in a sitcom, and Elaine Page got her break in Evita. But it was fantastic because we used to see each other at the same auditions. Now, we were both physically poles apart, you can imagine. But I think your agent sent you for everything, you know, just to see, you know, if you can get in any work, and hence his commission. So it's still nice to be able to think that some people are still coming to see you and think, oh, I didn't realise she sang this and she sang that. It's nice that you can still pleasantly surprise people. Let's talk about you, the fashion icon. I'm a fashion moron. You're a fashion icon. Let's describe what this is today. We've got things on your necklace. What's that then? These are wonderful plastic kind of little... This is a whistle. Right, that's made of plastic, so that's fantastic. There's also a tennis ball in a book with a pen on it. These are all 30 years old. You don't expect a whistling necklace, do you?
And you don't expect a dog collar either, do you, really?
Actually, that's very true. I thought to myself, hey, this is fantastic. There was a fabulous shop in Manchester because we'd been everywhere with this tour. And I went to this fantastic place. And it's sort of like a S&M shop. I thought, I've got to have a bit of that, you know. Anyway.
Marks and Spencer.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's the reverse, isn't it?
Anyway, it's a campus thing, so I thought, I've got to have this. So I've got a matching wrist dog collar, loads and loads of... loads and loads of like sparkly jewellery. Well, you know what my bling's like? I don't want expensive bling because I leave them everywhere. And I've got a tabard on with got great big gaps at the side. Then I've got a wonderful pair of leggings that are sort of almost like these were given to me because they were made by 2 students of fashion, London School of Fashion. And I said, oh, they're sending me in the post. These wonderful kids that they appreciate people with imagination, I think. And I think equally they'll get their gear worn, which is fantastic. So I'm more than happy to be, I'll be a designer's dream.
Everybody knows you. Is it difficult to get anywhere? I mean, can you go to Greg's the Baker's for some cobs?
Oh yeah, I can still go, but they're great because sometimes they'll go, hey up Sue, how you doing? All right. And I'll say, I'm fine, thanks, which is fantastic. I enjoy all that. And then you might get some of the others and they might go, it is you, what are you doing here? And then you think to yourself, oh, we've obviously had great pre-publicity, they haven't got a clue what I'm doing here. It's like, you know, you get these taxi drivers and you might be in a panto and you might be there for say 6 or 7 weeks and it's like your last Wednesday of the run and it'll be, what have you been doing? I said, I've only been doing, you know, like Jack and the Beanstalk for 7 weeks, darling. But sometimes people don't expect to see you walking in the street, you know. I mean, I've seen people that I've seen on TV or know from where they are, and I go, oh, it's Trevor McDonald. Oh, he's marvellous. And I still get excited when I see people that I know, you know what I mean? It's fabulous.
I'll tell you why I worry about you, this touring continually, which you seem to have done all your career. Isn't it lonely in those Premier Lodges? I don't do it very often, but when I have to stay in them, I find it incredibly tragic and just see myself as a mini Alan Partridge.
I can understand exactly what you mean. I'm more than happy to do a Premier Lodge. You know, I'm not one of these, you know, I paint my sweet green with, you know, purple blobs. But mostly, I've been fortunate enough to stay in some very, very nice establishments. Sometimes I stay with mates, like I'm staying with my friend Steve this week, Bookend. Don't ask me why I call him Bookend, but it's just a bit of a camp thing. And then of course in Brighton I've got a flat, but if I hadn't have got a flat I could have commuted, but on a regular basis, daily, I think an hour and a half each way can sometimes be a bit too much, Alex. You know, so you like to be above the shop. But I've been very, very fortunate and we've had some great, great hotels, lovely flats, great digs. People, it's surprising how many people on the digs list, that's what they call it, each theatre, are more than happy to open up their homes for you. And I must say, I think they're unsung heroes. They don't get mentioned enough. So to all those lovely people that offer us accommodation, we are so, so grateful. And thank you very much from all of us and all the cast and the band.
Absolutely. The last time I saw you, you were in The Menopause, the musical. How does it feel now going through the menopause?
Well, I must say, at first I thought, oh, it can't be happening to me. And I knew something was up because I felt a bit odder than normal. And one of the things that happened, I thought, what am I doing putting my handbag in the oven? You know, because you do your mind plays tricks and you go a bit odd. And it's all a bit, you know, and these terrible things like, and then you think to yourself, I used to love certain foods, and then you'd go off them for whatever reason. And apparently, it's all to do with your metabolic cycle and the way it's all changing. So, but girls who are going through it or are yet to go through it, hang on in there. You do come through the other side.
I was talking about the show, not personally.
Oh, sorry. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter anyway, does it? You see, I like to think I'm a role model for the older girl. She can still hack it. Yeah.
Everybody says to me about you, because I've known you more than 10 years now, you were one of the first that I ever did and are still doing, which is nice, isn't it? And they say, is she really like that? And where does she get her energy from? Answer both of those questions.
I suppose it's a terminology that I found from somebody else, and I thought that was it was the essence of a person's being. You're a life embracer. You see, even if I've got problems, or like we all have, haven't we? I mean, luckily, I hardly have any problem in my life at all. But if I do, I think It's always like what my dad said. Oh, just get on with it. You could come through the other side. It's how you handle it, how you let it affect you. And I just think of all my pluses. And I tell you what, darling, I've got so many pluses to be grateful for, and so many people haven't. And I so know that I'm lucky. I'm doing something that I fabulously enjoy on a regular basis. I just look for all the pluses, and there are plenty.
I think it is your optimism and your love for it that keeps you here today.
Well, it's very nice of you to say that, Alex, because I do think that that is a plus. And I think actually what you just described, it's essential to have qualities like that, because, you know, you've got to be able to enjoy what you're doing, because you've got to put that across to somebody else. And not only that, darling, you're not just doing it once a week, you're doing it 8 times, and sometimes for months on end. So it can't become a daily grind. Exactly what you said. If you choose wisely, and you choose exactly, if you can, if you're in a position to choose, and indeed are able to get offered a choice, that is your first bonus. Then if you choose something that you think is obviously popular and is going to appeal to the public, and then it's up to you to give your very, very best every time. It's not just about enjoyment, it's about extreme discipline, really, and stamina. And then, but you learn how to build that up. And you have to remember that you have to have a respect for the public. They come along, they pay their money, it's hard earned, especially these days. And it's up to you to send them out, whatever you're doing, going, oh, I got value for money, and my God, I enjoyed myself. And that's my criteria. Really.
Well, I love you very much. Thank you for being you, and thank you for talking to me again. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, it's a real pleasure. Now, come on, take me for a pint.
Loving the dog collar, by the way.